What we do here in this building is unquestionably some of the most meaningful work that any of us can do on behalf of Oregonians. This session, we made incredible progress on housing and a homelessness problem. We successfully and respectfully took up the difficult and emotionally charged conversation of how to help those struggling with addiction while at the same time keeping our communities safe. And after 49 years of inaction by this very own legislature, we finally passed campaign finance reform. There are few places in this world where a group of 60 individuals can collectively come together and have an impact of this magnitude in just 35 days. And we did these things by putting people over politics. 2 years ago, when I was first elected speaker, I had a tremendous fear of failure. I believed, and I still do, that a functional and respectful democracy is one of the best tools to help us solve our community's greatest challenges. At the same time, it is also a system that can incentivize us to demonize each other and create distrust in the world and cause us to forget the many shared values we have, all in the name and the pursuit of politics. I was fearful when I became speaker because those things, demonizing each other, mistrust, only happen if we, as politicians, allow them to. I was fearful about my responsibility, and if I'm honest, my effectiveness to guide and lead our collective decision as a body to choose people over politics. I believed in us as a group of leaders, but I have my doubt. The path wasn't always clear, straight, or on solid ground. In fact, in this pursuit, it became a running joke in the speaker's office that someone had to take a drink every time I said the phrase, building a culture of respect and Disney-level customer service. Democracy requires hard work, and it requires commitment. I am grateful, immensely grateful to be here today, more than 2 years later, because I can confidently say that this body has consistently chosen people over politics. During the 2022 session, as we emerged from the pandemic, this body successfully delivered on a critical housing and homelessness package. We had a rural infrastructure investments package, the first ever climate budget, and the Future Ready Oregon program to combat our workforce challenges. In 2023, we urgently came together to pass the semiconductor investment package that has stimulated incredible job growth, and our housing and homelessness supports package that helped Oregonians across the state. And we did all of those things within the first 60 days of session. We also delivered on a boring, and I apologize, Representative Helm and Representative Owens, a boring water infrastructure package that was desperately needed, the Oregon Kids Tax Credit for low-income Oregonians, and an early literacy program to improve our educational outcomes. We also had the second climate budget the state has ever seen, and a behavioral health package that included work to combat the opioid crisis. And finally, this session, the temptation to choose people or politics over people was ever present. It would have been incredibly easy this session for some to wish and attempt to thwart the progress on the work to address our housing and addiction crisis, all in the name of politics. But we didn't. It would have also been all too easy to choose inaction, to avoid difficult conversations with individuals we deeply care about. But we didn't. In the end, we passed a suite of bills that will provide housing supports and expand housing production to Oregonians across this state. We passed a comprehensive plan that will urgently help those struggling with addiction and at the same time keep our communities safe. And finally, we invested in communities across this state that will help our local economies. On opening day, I said I believe the work this session had the ability to create positive ripples and opportunities for families and communities across this state for years to come. I believe we have done just that. We, as elected officials, as politicians, as leaders of our state, will always have the perpetual choice between people or politics. I hope in Oregon we will always ignore the political rhetoric and continue to choose people. I have now served in this legislature for almost 10 years. 4 of those as co-chair of Ways and Means, 2 of those as Speaker. These have been unquestionably some of the most rewarding experiences of my life. But my successes and my ability to do this work has been solely due to the people around me, and I have always been fortunate to have had the most amazing people working around me. In our building, we should always be thankful of all the people that make this work. The successes that we have are not always because of us, they are because of the people who do this work. That is our LPRO, LRO, LC, Legislative Admin, IT, LFO, and most importantly, well, not most importantly, I apologize to everybody else, but the folks that make us look good up here, our amazing clerk's office. We frustrate these people constantly in the session. I can't tell you how much we frustrate them, but just know inside the Speaker's office, we do as elected officials, but we need them to get the work of the people done. In our office, I would like to thank and acknowledge all the people who make these things work. Annette Rose, an institution in the Oregon House, she puts up with us. We are difficult people to work for, and she's amazing, and she has gracefully done it the entire time in here. Taylor, where is Taylor? Taylor's in our fellowship program. He's the front line in our office, does all of our constituent work, absolutely amazing. We have Jack, Mr. Fix-It. Jack, this is surprising, has been with me since 2018 in the fellowship program. Actually, both Taylor and Jack were in the fellowship program. I like to call him the Swiss Army knife of our office because he'll do anything and fix anything. We have Hazel, who came into the middle of our last legislative session. We wouldn't know what to say without Hazel. And she frustrates Dirk Vanderhart there all the time because she won't let me talk to him. It's like, Dirk's texting again? Stop it, Dirk. We have Studi. Studi is amazing. Studi is low-key, efficient. You wouldn't know it. She is the puppet master of the Speaker's office. She's amazing. And we have Alicia. Alicia is our moral compass of our office. We would not have a housing or addiction package this session without Alicia. And then Jen. Jen has been with me and around me, supporting me since 2010. The house wouldn't be the best chamber in the building without you. And everyone, whether they know it or not, deserves Jen their gratitude and probably a few apologies along the way. Also to say, I also have a few former staff in the building up here. I don't have my glasses. I don't know where they are. I lost them a little bit while in the back. But in the back, we've got Tony Lapise, who has been with me for a really long time, and also Daniel Torres up there, who was also my intern in 2010. Collectively, I also want to thank the leaders of both of our caucuses, Leader Fahey, Leader Helfrich, and former Leader Breeze Iverson. Your patient in partnership with me and our office is more than I could have ever hoped for. None of us are perfect, but I hope that we made each other stronger in this process. I know you all will do amazing work together in the future. I also want to acknowledge our families. Why do they let us do this? Seriously. The sacrifices they make are real and they are stressful. Amanda has had her own journey during the last 10 years. She takes Adams to his appointments. She does the little things that easily go unnoticed in a family, and most importantly, she puts up with me when I'm quiet and in my head after a very tough day. Without her patience, without her stamina, these past 10 years don't happen. I'm eternally grateful for her for allowing me to be here with you. And finally, and even though Adam doesn't want me to do this, I want to take a moment and tell you about some of my favorite moments at the Capitol. They are the days my son Adam comes to work with me. Each session, I desperately look forward to spending time with Adam at my side. From him sitting at the side aisle right over there when we pass minimum wage, to him wearing my suit jacket and loading it up with candy and chocolate milk, to sliding down the marble staircase and being caught by the state police. Those will always be my most favorable moments in this Capitol. You are a huge part of the reason I do this work, and I would do anything for you, and I love you. In 6th grade, my father, my stepmother, and I were traveling back home from a weekend in Bend. It was winter. It had recently snowed in the Santiam Pass between Salem and Bend. As a result, my father had borrowed a white Chevrolet Blazer with 4-wheel drive from a family friend for the trip. Nearing the end of our 3-hour return trip, I was antsy. I just wanted to be home. My father, out of the blue, informed us that we needed to get gas. Now, this is a real problem for me. It meant a critical 10-minute delay of my plans to get out of that car as soon as I possibly could. So I did what any normal, self-respecting 6th grader would do. I began to complain. "No, we have plenty of gas. Just drop the car off. Let's go home," I whined. At this point, my father did what any self-respecting parent would do. He futilely tried to rationalize his decision to an 11-year boy. He explained to me that when you borrow someone else's things, you should always return them in better condition than when you found them. I'm sure he thought this bit of wisdom would make me feel better. It didn't. To be honest, I'm surprised that I even remember the moment. If it had been up to me as an 11-year-old boy, I would have left that car in our friend's driveway on empty. I am now 45 years old, standing before you during my last session in the Oregon legislature. After a decade of work in this building, a decade that went by in a blink, I hope that I've let this legislature, our state, better than when I found it, and with some gas left in the tank. Thank you.